San Bernardino and its population over the years have become familiar with urban and wildfires and are no strangers to the effects that fires can have on the environment. Cataclysmic events like the Old Fire of October 2003, which swept over 91,000 acres, is just one example of how powerful and destructive wildfires can get in the San Bernardino area. But it is much credited to the San Bernardino Fire Department that the prevention of even further devastation must be given. For without the fire department to combat these fires, the amount of destruction would be inconceivable. The development of San Bernardino Fire Department originally began during a simple meeting in June 1865 in the Pines Hotel discussing the issues of fire protection. 4 days later, San Bernardino's first fire department was born with William McDonald leading as foreman. The department would go through many trials over its lifetime as leaders rose and fell from the chief position. A concert producing $103 gave the new department enough money for 4 ladders, 4 axes, 4 hooks, 24 buckets, a fire bell, and a speaking trumpet. The department was also given an opportunity for the city's first fire station. While having humble beginnings, the San Bernardino Fire Department seemed to be actively growing over the next 6 years. Members began participating, as many fire companies did back then, in community social activities like annual balls and showing off their skills in exhibitions. The department even stemmed the community's first fire station. They also coined the nicknames such as Fire Laddies and the Fire Boys in their community. But it seemed that the humble beginnings for the fire department was quickly coming to an end, as the station's property was sold in 1871 and the company would cease to exist. The money from the sale was given to a M.H. Server to be saved for an investment in the company's future. Today it is still unclear as to why the department was disbanded. Over the next 7 years, the city was without fire protection and suffered several fires that burned entire city blocks. In October 1878, members of the old fire company were called once again to reorganize the fire department, with William McDonald again leading the way as the company's foreman. He later became San Bernardino's first fire chief. With the help of citizens and trustees, the first fire engine company was born as Pioneer Hose Company No. 1, introducing the department's first fire engine, which required manual transporting and pumping, a feat veteran firefighter Stephen Shaw believes is worth commending.
Certainly physically, the early days were the hardest when they had to, pull hose carts by hand through the dirt streets of San Bernardino.
Steam pump wagons drawn by horse later replaced their predecessor, but was eventually made obsolete by high-pressure, gravity-fed water systems that were installed throughout the city. The new water system provided specifically for firefighting purposes would be the key factor in the department's future and would play a big part in one of the most influential men in the fire department. In December 1888, Dave Wixom took the position of fire chief and reorganized the fire department, during which time the city was equipping itself with the advanced water system grid and single-handedly shifted the department into being partly paid. Chief Wixom stayed active in the city's development even after leaving the fire department, by becoming a trustee and later mayor. During his term in 1889, the city enlisted official fire horses Frank and Sam into the department to pull their fire engines and ladder trucks. On November 5, 1892, the firefighters would face their greatest challenge yet. The 4-story Stewart Hotel was completely engulfed by flames. This fire was considered to be the most catastrophic since the fire department's conception. Many firemen were wounded in their battle with the Stewart Hotel fire. 2 years later, Wixom's title of chief came to an end. The year of 1896 was bittersweet as the fire department received its first award and lost one of its prized members. The fire department won its first trophy for being the best decorated team in the form of a silver cup. Soon after, during the same month, Sam, one of the original horses appointed to the department, died. The entire city grieved, and a funeral was held by the city to commemorate him for his service, as he was considered a pioneer to the fire department.
The horses back then were just like another fireman. Everybody knew them. I imagine people like the horses better than they like the firemen. Yeah, wow. I probably would. But
the city grieved, right?
Yeah. When the horse died, the city turned out for his funeral. They buried him.
O.M. Stevenson was appointed as chief in August 1897. Chief Stevenson had a full plate of work on his hands, as just 4 months after his appointment, another catastrophic fire would sweep over the cottages and a planting mill on December 29, 1897. The Santa Ana wind strengthened the fire, rapidly spreading it in such a way that the fire department never gained control of it. In 1911, former Fire Chief Wixom turned mayor appointed F.G. Stark the position of chief. He was the first in his position to be fully paid. The other positions of the department consisted of 3 paid firemen and 15 volunteers. Stark died after finishing his last term. O.W. Newcomb became chief in 1921. Newcomb removed volunteers from the department and instead employed 10 fully paid firemen. Richard Moon served as fire chief from 1988 to 1989. In May 1989, a runaway Southern Pacific freight train with 69 hopper cars carrying a product called Trona derailed in the Muscoy area. Less than 2 weeks later, a Cal Nev gas line pipe exploded under the impact point of the South Pacific freight train. On October 25, 2003, under the watch of Chief Larry Pitzer, a fire by the old Waterman Canyon Road was reported. It spread quickly due to north winds, high temperatures, and low humidity. 91,000 acres of San Bernardino wildlands was burned, and 330 homes were burned down. The cost of damage to property reached over $126 million. Over the years, there have been many challenges and even more changes to the San Bernardino Fire Department that have altered the way that firefighters operate when called upon. But the vigor of the department is one thing that remained constant throughout history. Stephen Shaw remarks a change in the fire department that he believes is most influential.
The biggest change in the fire department over its 130-something year history has been going on medical calls. So the introduction of paramedics into the fire department has sort of saved the fire department in a way, because over 80% of all the calls are medical related.